What I would like to do now is just to point out and show you some of the things that make a really fantastic bonsai. So down here, all this area here, this is what we call the start of the bonsai. So you can see all the details here of the bark and the way the roots come down. It's really essential that you have roots which flare out at the base of the trunk and they grip the ground. That gives it real strength. A little hollow here. Now hollows give the impression of age. How many times have you walked around in the woods and places like that and you see a little hole or a hollow in the trunk and you just want to have a peer inside it and see what's going on in there? Coming up, you can see where the trunk splits. We've got a nice detail in the bark here as it comes down. And the two, they flow away nicely. And an important thing as well, especially on a twin trunk, is the fact that the main trunk is always slightly larger than the smaller trunk. So that you can see, well, this one actually grew first. And this style of bonsai we call a mother and son. We've got the parent, and then we've got the child. So here we have the top of the tree that have got lovely little curves coming all the way up, and it comes down to this tiny wispy little branch at the top here. So we've got a beautiful taper from start to bottom. Within, I would say, in about another 50 years, probably we'll have half the amount of branches that you see now. As a branch grows, it occupies more space. So what you end up with is two branches competing for the same space. And this is what happened in a normal tree as well. So basically, the light factor will start to become more important to each branch. One branch will shadow another branch, and that branch won't grow in the shadow. So I will start to remove branches as would nature.
Removing branches from a bonsai tree must be quite daunting.
Yeah, I actually find the best way to do it is I sit down, I take a good look at the bonsai, and then I just close my eyes, pick up the clippers and just have a good clipping session and just hope that I get the right one, really. And so that's absolute rubbish, Bob, actually.
I mean, could you perhaps show us a branch that you might be considering would be for the chop, if you like?
It would probably be either this one or this one. At the moment, I'm not sure because there are other facts. This branch here is opposite the branch at the back of the tree. This branch is actually coming from the same point on the trunk as this branch here. So it gives the impression that we have what we call a bar branch. So the two branches almost continue and cut the trunk off. So this is another thing that we have to consider when removing branches. There are many, many factors, and the older the tree becomes, the more we have to just think about which one we're going to be doing.
So where do people get their inspiration from? I mean, when people aren't going to be starting on a tree like this, are they?
No, they're not. And it's a very good point. I think the inspiration changes the more you start to grow. First of all, most people start off with a little bonsai that they're given, perhaps, or they might have seen a picture in a book. Oh, that looks good, I'd like to have a go at that. Once you've started growing bonsai, your inspiration really should come from trees themselves, by going out into the woods and the fields and looking at the trees, because they will teach you more than anybody can ever teach you about growing bonsai. See how the different shapes are formed, where the branches come from, all the different shapes and the curves, what the weather has done to that tree and how it's grown. These are the things, really, these are my inspiration now. So it changes. First of all, I think when people start out, their inspiration comes from looking at other bonsai. People regularly come to me just to have, I'd come to have a look at your tree because I need a bit of inspiration. And they have a look around, or they feel motivated and off they go, and then they can carry on from there. People come to classes and they get inspiration and motivated from there. But once you've reached a point where you're growing bonsai and you feel quite confident about it, then you really need to look at the trees. And the more you learn about trees, the more you will learn about bonsai. And the more you learn about bonsai, the more you learn about trees. And the two are together.